I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would you please join me in standing to say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and I have no forms for open forum. So roll call. All board members are present. No, Stacy Ruel is missing, who is out of town. I apologize. I was trying to figure out who sits in that chair. We are going to go, may I take a motion to approve the agenda for the evening?
So made.
By Amy, a second.
Second.
Was that Enrique? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0. All right, moving on to new business. We have employee contracts, terms and conditions by Jim. Thank you.
Board Chair, board members, Superintendent Stallo. This evening I bring from your board packet, you will see a 21-22 agreements and terms and conditions of employment adjustment. The following salary adjustments are being recommended for this year. This is something we've talked about in the past and the board has asked to move forward with, and so there's a lengthy list there. I won't read the whole thing, but I bring it forward and recommend approval.
All right, first we'll start. Do we have a motion to accept the changes as brought forward by Jim Quorum?
So made.
Do we have a second?
Second.
By Enrique. Okay, any comments or questions?
The only comment that I just want to make sure is Stan, is the only thing that changed on those contracts was the salary increase, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please do.
I just want to thank everyone who has hung in there this year. It's been a really hard year, and hopefully this shows our recognition of that, along with a lot of verbal thanks, which really only goes so far. So we just, it was important to me, and I think to our board, to do this. And hopefully it was impactful to the recipients as well.
Thank you. Anybody else? I will just echo that. To get through the last 2 years has required every single person on this team to give over 200%. We have an exhausted staff, I am sure, and they were tireless, and they showed up no matter what was asked, and they put our students first. And so to have the opportunity to recognize all of them, not only verbally, not only with proclamations, but in a tangible way, is very, very important. And so my thanks, no matter what your role in the district, our deep gratitude to you and to the team that worked and negotiated and helped us get to this point. Thank you very much. Okay, have I taken a vote yet? I don't believe I have. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0. Thank you. Next up is the School Resource Officer Agreement with the City of Savage for 2023 through 2027, and this will be Julie.
Good evening. Our School Resource Officer Agreement with the City of Savage is really no changes except for a continuation for the next 5 years of that service for the district. That's a 3% increase in each of the next 5 years. That funding comes from our Safe Schools allocation.
Okay, great. Before we discuss, do I have a motion to approve the agreement as listed?
So made.
By Mary, second by Enrique. Thank you. Comments or questions? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 6-0. Next up, the 2022-24 transportation contract with Prior Lake School Bus Association. And again, Julie, thank you.
This really should be a 23-24. It's 2 years that we are looking for an addendum for. We had a 4-year agreement with our bus contractors. We had financial implications in the first 2 with the TBA, and so we're bringing you the information for years 3 and 4. These are 6% increases in that agreement. I think we've had many discussions about the rationale behind that. We're just not able to keep up with continuing to have bus drivers. There's a lot of expense in that as well. And so that's the recommendation coming forward. And it's also come forward to the Finance and Facilities Long-Range Planning Committee.
Okay, very good. Let's start. Do we have a motion to approve the transportation contract?
So made.
By Jonathan, a second?
Second.
Second by Mary. Any comments or questions? All right, thank you again. You've been doing a great job helping us know where it was headed and what the percentage was going to look like.
And I'd just like to say, we just appreciate the partnership that we've had with Prior Lake Bus Company. They've been fantastic these past couple of years with all the requirements and really continuing to serve us, the district and our families and students.
Thank you. Just another example of people who really had to dig in, take care of our kids, and get them to in-person school. So, thank you. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries 6-0. Okay, next up is the approval of the superintendent resignation.
Good evening, board members. As I submit my letter of resignation this evening, I want to first of all thank you all for your leadership and support to me that you've provided over the years, especially, as we've already talked about this evening, over the last few years. I'm grateful for the way you've engaged, challenged, and guided some really important and difficult decision-making where there have been no easy answers. I want to thank you for that and let you know that it has truly been my pleasure to serve you and the school district. I also want to remind you, as you saw demonstrated tonight and have seen multiple times, that we work with an amazing administrative team. I'm able to step away right now from some really important work because the leadership team we have in place, because of the leadership team we have in place and their relentless dedication to doing what is right on behalf of children. As an example, yesterday afternoon, yes, Sunday afternoon, we needed to call a meeting with 11 administrators, and just as they do every day, they showed up, they problem solved, and they kept student needs at the center. I want to thank my administrative team for truly being some of the finest people and professionals I have ever had the pleasure of serving alongside. I also want to thank and show appreciation to the entire staff across the district for what you all do each and every day. Yesterday afternoon, again, I had a chance with Michael to attend the rehearsal of the high school vocal program in preparation for the Peacemakers concert, which is happening right now. I saw 3 music directors who represent our staff at large, working with students, making sure that they felt prepared and confident before performing in front of, I'm sure, what's a sold-out audience right now. And that's the kind of individuals that we have employed in every corner of this school district. Our staff work tirelessly in support of students, and they have done this more over the difficult challenges of the past few years. Thank you, staff, for being mission-driven and student-focused. I also want to thank our families and our amazing community members and the partners that we engage in every single day, especially as I see Chief Frazier in the back of the room. The partnerships that we have are real and deep and important for the work that we do. So I want to thank you for all of the support that you have provided and you all have provided through the pandemic. And finally, the reason I get up every morning and the reason I have gotten up every morning for the last 7 years is to help lead and educate all learners to reach their full potential as contributing and productive members of our ever-changing global community. My work and our collective work is always for students. My work and our collective work is always based on shared leadership, which empowers others to engage in collaboration and honest conversations, lifting up multiple perspectives as data is used and partnerships are created to arrive at the best solutions for the question, what is best for students? There is no greater work than that of public education, serving and supporting public education, and the work in which we have been engaged and are engaged in Prior Lake Savage area schools as we work to achieve our mission. I'm proud of our collective work, and I know you will continue to lead amazing things. I feel grateful to have been on this journey and to have served with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll We'll start with a motion in a second and then open it up for comments. Do I have a motion? You have a formal letter of resignation in front of you on the table. A motion to accept the superintendent's resignation.
So made.
By Mary. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Julie. I'd like to open it up for comments.
I just want to say thank you. There are two words that come to mind, working with you over the last year, and they are high energy and positivity. And I hope that that remains in our district, that high energy and positivity remains with our leaders. I'm confident it will, because I think we do have some really great leaders in place. And thank you. Good luck.
I'd like to add briefly, thank you for the last year to be able to be at the table with you and to constantly remind me of your mission statement to educate all learners. And I know that you repeat it and it's just part of your day-to-day walk. But I think that's something that I'll always carry with me, that is my job, is to help educate all learners.
Anybody else?
Sure. I'm going to add on to the statement about mission. There have been two organizations that I've been a part of, involved with in my lifetime that had a true focus on mission. One of them was the college I attended. I could still tell you their mission. And this school district, because we hear it on a daily basis and we hear it from the leader of the school district. We hear it with enthusiasm, we hear it with sincerity, we hear it with passion, and that's leadership, and you will be sorely, sorely missed. I think it was about 7 years ago that somebody asked me to show up at Julie's office and get involved with a referendum, and that was my first impression, and it was fantastic, and it inspired me to be involved. And so I appreciate your leadership of this district. You will be sorely, sorely missed.
Else? Enrique or Mary?
So many words, so little time. Just kind of reflecting a little bit on the professional development, the board development we had earlier this evening. One statement I made was, one of my missions as a leader is to make myself obsolete. And just kind of reflecting on your words, reflecting on the administrators we have, the mission that we have, that mission statement has cascaded all the way through every single one of the building instructional leaders, the administrators, everyone. The reason that they are willing to get up and have that Sunday meeting and figure out how to solve that problem is because they truly believe it in their bones that it's their mission to help all learners reach their full potential. And I can only think that that is a result of your transformational leadership. So you have made yourself obsolete.
Thanks, Enrique.
That's the highest compliment I can give. Thank you.
All right, well, I will pick up then. I will start by also acknowledging the administration and staff of the district who have worked closely with Dr. Stallo over these 7 years. And I know, serving on the board, going on my 4th year, last year's vice chair, this year's chair, that we have a team that is collectively tireless and committed to students. And the level of performance and care and compassion among all of you is so powerful and makes such a difference. And I find comfort in the leaders that we have in the community as Dr. Stallo moves on, that we still have this amazing group to help lead us forward. So even though there were many people who were shocked, hurt, sad, disappointed, I know one thing I've heard Stacy Ruel say, who would probably say it at the table tonight, as a district, we'll be okay. In large part, that's because of the work that you've done. I am going to vote to accept your resignation tonight with very mixed feelings. For the district and for the community, your resignation is a loss. On a personal and professional level, I'm very happy for you. After serving over 30 years in education, you have an opportunity to grow in new ways and to test out the waters of the public or private sector. And I'm really, really happy for you to see where that adventure takes you. I will say again, serving as board director, then vice chair and chair, I truly have had a seat at the table to see the 24/7 nature of this job, and especially the last few years. It never turns off, and especially at this time in history, it is not only chronic but acute almost at all times, and you have served us tirelessly. You have led work that is cause for great celebration, to make you very proud, and to make us as a district and a community very proud. And your leadership has helped us navigate unanticipated and unprecedented times in education, in our community, and in our world. I was honestly very hopeful that we would be able to have you for the rest of your contract with 2 more years to go. I looked forward to what we could do in that time. And at the same time, I know you were being actively pursued from outside organizations, and you had opportunities. And I know when you chose to accept one, it did not come lightly for you to make that decision, and I honor that. I do look forward to working with you tirelessly through the end of June of your contract. I wish you nothing but the best as you go forward in your next steps. And most importantly, I want you to know that both your absence and your legacy will be felt. Thank you. All those in favor of accepting the superintendent's resignation letter, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0. All right, last item on the list is the natural follow-up, and that is a discussion for the search for a new superintendent. I'll just lay the groundwork to say that hiring a superintendent is one of the most important responsibilities of a school board. For those listening, the superintendent is the only employee of the school board, the only one who answers to us. And tonight, we need to discuss what our options are to move forward in this moment. And so I'm going to open it up for discussion. I'll hold my comments and thoughts to the end and open the floor up to see what direction we want to take at this point, what our options are.
Michael, can I ask you, I know you said you're going to step back and let us discuss what, I know you've done some research and options, and can you share what you have found before we each chime in? Can you share kind of what you've seen as
Sure.
different paths and different options?
So I think for any school board facing this decision, you have to take into consideration the timeline you have to work with. And from what I've studied and learned, since I have not done this process before, is we have the option of searching for an interim superintendent, of naming an internal candidate to serve as an interim superintendent if we think we need more time for a search, or to search for a permanent replacement. So those are kind of the options. There are different issues to consider as we move forward. I'm willing to just, again, those can come up in discussion unless you need more than that.
The timeframe and also the complications involved in a search, I think that we should go the route of hiring a national search firm and start the process immediately.
Great, thank you. Other input?
I would just simply say concur. I don't know that I have to add much.
Okay,
I agree.
okay,
Yeah, I agree as well.
right.
I agree.
Wow, all right. So I think what we'll need to consider is gathering information on available search firms, get their input on what they think the timeline looks like, if it's doable, what the candidate pool is like. And I think what I need to do is leave the table tonight with some direction from all of you. And if the direction we're looking at is looking to hire a search firm, are you giving me direction to work maybe with Amy and Stacy to gather some of that information to forward on to you as soon as possible? And look at what our available options might be and what those timelines might be.
I would, first of all, I know lots of search firms, but Jim, seeing that you're in human resources, do you have a list, or do you know of search firms in this area?
I do not have a list, and there are several that,
Yep.
that service school districts in Minnesota. But we could,
Yeah. I took the liberty of listening to several board members where they've recently filled or are looking to fill to see which search firms they interviewed and did some research on them. I would be happy to continue to do that. I have not contacted a single one because I didn't have the direction to do that. But I do know there are some names that repeatedly come up in the area, and some have different strengths.
I would recommend that we go for a search firm that isn't limited only to Minnesota. Right now, the pool is fairly small. And we are in a situation where we want someone with experience, particularly with the situations that we've been facing. And we may not find that in Minnesota. Matter of fact, there's a good chance we might not. I think that when we do talk to search firms, they will usually give a requirement from us of what they need to know. Everything from salary, percentage,
Right.
what benefits as far as, let's say they do come out of
Contract.
state and moving, time frame, training, et cetera,
Yep.
that are needed. And so once that happens, I think you're gonna find pretty much the same requirements from all of them. They may even find objectives that are required of somebody, whether the contract will be interim to finish out Terry's remaining 2 years, or if it would start fresh. So those are just some of the questions that normally happen, whether you're searching for a superintendent or a CEO.
Right.
So once we hear that from the various search firms, I think that that can come back to the board and we can talk about rates, percentages, which ones seem to be more thorough and which ones had a better track record. So they should also give us their resumes as far as what they
Sure.
filled and what they haven't filled.
And I know one thing I've read from other districts is you want to make sure that your search firm understands how to function in the state of Minnesota in terms of open meeting law and how to take those steps as well. And so I think what we could do is, I think we're all going to need a flexible calendar. We're probably going to have some special meetings to, escalate this as quickly as possible and get it moving forward. I can work with Amy and Stacy, and we can break up the responsibility of getting the research and information together and get it to you, and probably look to schedule a special meeting as soon as we have the information we need to look at moving forward. As I understand, then once the firm is hired, based on what they bring to the table, they will help us with making sure we've clarified what the description is, what the requirements are, and the steps that we'll take for gathering input, et cetera. So I think that will help to have that expertise ready to go on the spot.
And just to be clear, I would anticipate it would include, and maybe you touched on this, but getting feedback from the community.
Absolutely. It sounds like there's different ways to do that, and I know that we're going to have because of the time, we're going to have to escalate how we do that and be creative in the ways that we do that. And I'm hopeful that we'll have a firm that can just jump on that and say, here's the most efficient way to get as many voices to the table as you can. So can I just kind of look around and make sure that I'm understanding my direction from all of you, that I'll begin to reach out to some of those firms, get information. The exec team can kind of divide up the work. We'll work as quickly as possible, bring forward those firms that are available, the information to you, and schedule a meeting to perhaps look at a recommendation and try to move forward. Am I capturing that correctly?
The only thing I want to emphasize is that we do want to look at people that are looking at candidates, not just from within Minnesota.
Correct.
I think that's.
I think we all
I
concur
just
with
want to
that.
make sure,
Yeah.
because I know
Yep.
that was a.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll see how that national candidate pool is too. So it's been a hard time to be a superintendent right now. Okay, any other comments or questions on that? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Quickly, before we adjourn,
Yes.
my heart is on the ice, so I just have to say Wednesday night, go Lakers, let's go to state for the first time.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Wearing it.
Congratulations to our hockey team. That's fabulous.
Not there yet.
It's
but
good to have
one more
those
to
kind
go.
of celebrations front and center. All right, anything else? All right, motion to adjourn, please.
So made.
By Jonathan, a second.
Second.
By Amy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. That motion carries 6-0. Thank you, everybody, for your time tonight.